With that, we're moving on to our second passage, which is all about desire. The first person I would like to call on stage is Stephanie Chan. Stephanie Chan has won national poetry slams in Singapore and the UK. They produce a monthly spoken word event called Spoken Bird. Their first poetry collection, Roadkill for Beginners, that was published by Black Paper Press, explores placemaking, found family, growing up, and queerness in Singapore, rural Ohio, and London.
So this is my poem. I originally wrote it, was commissioned to write it for the newspaper, and it's called I Tried to Imagine the Future, but all I could think about was the texture of skin. I wrote it in the middle of the circuit breaker last year. When all this is over, we will step outside, hold hands with people we do not live with, leaning against fitness corner monkey bars. We will meet our friends again, wrap our arms around them, and realize that we have forgotten how hugs are supposed to end. When all this is over, we will remove our masks and kiss in the middle of zebra crossings. Drivers will honk their horns not out of rage, but out of joy. When all this is over, we will sit in crowded cinemas watching a movie picked at random for the sheer pleasure of hearing strangers crunching buttered popcorn all around us. When all this is over, maybe we will say good morning to our neighbors, ask if they slept well, first out of fear, then because we genuinely like them. When all this is over, we will remove our masks, taste the fresh air for the first time in months, and see ourselves and this city for what we really are. When all this is over, may we never walk past another new building without wondering how the people who put it together are doing. When all this is over, may we finally stop mistaking compassion for compromise, inequality for inevitable, but never stop questioning. When all this is over, I hope we remember the ways in which we cared, everything we redistributed, everything we would not settle for, whatever we demanded, everything that we shared, and how we kept one another alive. And realize that all this was just a beginning. When all this is over, we will step outside and hold hands with people we do not live with. Thank you so much.
So that was Stephanie Chan. Next up, we have Amy Martin, who is from Indonesia, East Java, and has been working in Singapore for 10 years now. She's currently volunteering at AICA, non-profit organization, a place for foreign domestic workers studying business entrepreneur, and she's also a volunteer at Migrant Writer of Singapore. Amy loves writing, baking, and cooking, so let's hear it from her.
The wind, here at the height of Heidi's building, I stood looking for a hand, pray and wait. The wind will bring you flying in front of me. I will miss you. I will hold you, and I will not let you go again. I want you here by my side forever, but it is just a dream. 1 hour passed, 2 hours passed. I have been here all day, but the wind will never under you back to me. The cloud, earth, and ocean have enfolded you. Now I'm just a broken heart. The wind only brings the dust flying, scattering around me, as if you were right by my side. But all of it is just my empty feeling. The wind, you have swallowed my boulevard heart. The dust, you have hidden the idol of my heart. I am sick because of longing. My poetry, my song, my feeling, my fear, and my everything, just about you who I love, about you who left me, only you. Why you come into my life, if only destroyer my life? If you want to leave me, why? What I wrong? Doesn't you mean that? But I believe one day you will find me when you remember who cared, who loved.
Thank you so much for your words, Amy. Next up, we have Navato. She's a domestic worker for 25 years. She's a help desk volunteer to Home, an NGO that is dedicated to supporting and empowering migrant workers who suffer abuse and exploitation. She writes poems and stories, and she was one of the winners of Migrant Workers Storytelling Competition in 2018. She's one of the authors of Our Homes, Our Stories, as well as a contributor and one of the editors of Call and Response 2. She is also a volunteer guide inside the National Gallery of Singapore for her fellow migrant workers. Take it away.
I am a domestic worker. I am a domestic worker who left my country. I took over my husband's responsibilities. Responsibilities that for him was a burden, taking care of us and providing for our children. For years, I struggled and persevered. At night, I am in tears. Tears that flow endlessly every time I hear my children cries. I wish I am here. And here, the way they are treating me is rooting out my sanity. When they think they have the authority in everything about me, they're abusing my weaknesses to the core until my body is sore. They're blind on my sacrifices, on how I get myself here. No questions, they never ask. It's just commands, and most of the time, I obey in fear. I remember, I'm always in that corner, standing still, numb feet I cannot feel. I cannot move. She said, "Don't move!" Her stare creeped into my flesh. I can hear her voice, even when I'm asleep, tormenting me with noise, with words that cuts deep. They do not allow me to rest, because I'm a prisoner in their nest. Some are lucky to have their freedom, but sadness arises for those rest days are seldom. The rights they are claiming was ignored and thrown away, denying to be heard in everything that they want to say. And that reminds me of a girl who was forced to marry to a man who was old enough to be her daddy. Her education was stopped. She didn't have an option. Her right to say no was out of discussion. Vulnerable, she is on her own. Her heart is wailing every time she is alone. Do you know that objectifying women is a bad way of portraying, using as commodities to improve your advertising? It poisoned the minds of those creepy creatures waiting like predators, scattered like hungry vultures. Every woman deserves to be respected. Voices of innocence shouldn't be neglected. Equality in rights in every opportunities. And this is what we're fighting for in every communities. My rights. My right to be treated fairly and not slavery. My right to decide on what to do on my own body. My right to go to school and learn properly. And my right to say no and choose who I want to marry. Woman. A mother, a daughter, a sister, a wife, or even a queen. The multitask she does, initiative is always seen. She is always seen. My stories became my voice when I realized, as a woman, I have a choice to to stand up for my rights and to be heard in everything. I just hope you received while you're listening.
Thank you, Bing, for that strong affirmation. Next up, we have Eleanor May Salvador Ramos from Jones Isabella, Philippines. She's been happily married for 17 years and is a proud mother of 2 teenagers. She's working in Hong Kong since July 2010. She's a proud member and team leader of the Uplifters Community, a non-profit organization that guides overseas foreign workers to manage their finances while working abroad. So let's hear it from Eleanor May.
At this moment, I am in the process of searching for the missing piece in my life, looking for the right key to unlock the door of my kingdom and steal back all the lost time. I'm searching, looking, restless, scanning every hole and gap, laying awake all night, dreamless, empty existence. My poor broken heart from years and years, I let the laughter fall onto my small, deaf ears. No happiness is enough. No satisfaction can be felt. We are all searching for something to heal ourselves, yet no medicine is strong enough. The right and a perfect key can never be turned to give us what we aspire the most, to give us what we yearn for and strive for. The thing that I want is hallucination. My perceptions are deformed. All are worth what I rate it. All are organized by how I place them. Hunting and chasing what cannot be found instead of deciding on to be satisfied. Wishing for what I didn't have, a dream that cannot be a masterpiece of mirages all too soon, I would believe. When will I begin to accept what is here in my life? Right here, right now. The present day in which I live, not to the past or future ahead. When will I stop searching and agree that I don't need more? Not anymore. When will be the time I learn to satisfy with what I have? Only then I will find what I've been looking for. The good I had is here, yet I keep looking on, never realizing what I had until it is all gone. And now I am in a place where I cannot find myself anymore. I cannot see the kingdom in my dreams, the kingdom I am searching all my life. I am nowhere that nobody could be found.
So that was Eleanor May coming all the way to us from Hong Kong. What I really love about the festival is that we get to hear from so many people from all across the world as well. Next up on stage, we have Jedediah Huang. So Jedediah is a Singaporean spoken word poet. His attempts at processing his trauma have led him to be published in 3 anthologies, become a Yoda spoken word runner-up in 2018, win the Go Sin Tub Creative Writing Competition in 2019, and become a finalist at the National Poetry Competition. And he also represented Singapore at the Causeway Exchange Slam. He was last caught performing at the Esplanade as part of Forward's March 2021 lineup, and he's obsessed with stories and all the best ways to tell them.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all the amazing poems today. I didn't ask for all these feelings. Hope you all have had lunch. I haven't had lunch, so I'm going to read a poem about food. Wait, can I take my mask? Nice. Yes. My tongue's a paikia. Born to a gang, entered primary school and forgot how to live. My tongue is a wok of fried rice. My father always said the secret to the best fried rice was to take your family's leftovers, toss it into a giant wok for 3 minutes with a lot of oil, and at this point you should be so hungry anything will taste good. My tongue is a hungry peasant boy. My tongue is what happens when you toss RGS educated Priscilla and Chinese high educated Kyokwa for 3 minutes with a lot of oil. I grew up with my mother's metered drumbeat accent and my father's fluttered melody in dialect. I learned language the same way my father learned the only piano song he knows. With no formal musical education, he relied on the pure memory of living room finger banter. When I hear him play, I hear his favorite clumsy vintage film. Now, I am a cocktail of confused accents. My English is clean and clinical like my mother's voice when she tells me to tell my father to tell her whether he wants to come home or for dinner or ever at all. My father tongue is equal parts memory and instinct, often without understanding. A scar on my tongue like the night I huddled beside my siblings with the echoes through the walls taught us nursery rhymes we didn't understand. 霸道! This is a 霸道! 要什么饭? So now, my tongue is a misplaced altar of las and laws. To rubs, kebabs, my JC classmates, my Merdeka accent smelt like cigarette smoke and casual alcoholism to them. I am the horror story the school parents gossip about. I became my army friend's token JC friend, the go-to essay writer, the one who was from JC, so you don't know one lah. My tongue don't know one lah. My tongue is still trying to find a shoebox to fit in. My tongue is still applying for a diploma in coding and certs in public speaking, trying to become more employable. At this point, my tongue is so hungry for a label. Millennial seems good enough for me. And what could be more millennial than a poem? Some days, my tongue feels like a salted egg sauce trying to fit onto everything. Some days, my tongue feels like mala and truffle fries, imported from all over the world, just trying to find a home. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Jedediah. Next up on stage, we have Heidi Miles. She's a domestic worker living in the city for 4 fruitful years. Her passion and love for the literary arts started as an innate desire during her primary and high school and continued until her college years. She's one of the contributors of the anthology book titled Call and Response To. She's also a member of Migrant Writers of Singapore, a team leader volunteer to a non-profit organization called Uplifters that helps to educate domestic workers about personal growth and money management. Yeah, let's hear it from Heidi.
Every woman on this planet deserves to raise and shine. I am like you, just like you. I am not talking here about a woman with a perfectly shaped eyebrows, or a woman who dress up sophisticatedly in gowns and stilettos. It is me. Looking at the girl in the mirror paints 1,000 of words, reflects atoms of emotions, sending hundreds of thoughts. How was I before? How those eyes are lighted up? Is there a spark at least, or do I even have a dream or an array of hope for those? How my lips are curving up when I smile, I don't even remember how it was. How my words torn into voices that impacted the world. Given in silence, a reflection. That was me yesterday's. And it was nightmares. My heart is bleeding. My eyes were wet. My lungs are trapped inside, gasping for air to survive. My knees were weak. My bones are shattered into pieces. My dreams, where are my dreams? They are becoming debris before I realized. Over centuries, generations are handed as stereotype branding and labeled that I am just a woman. And because of that, I was not allowed to speak up. I was not allowed to raise my opinions. I was not allowed to tackle the matter. I don't have the right to address issues. Society are forgetting the fact that a woman is valuable, a woman is beautiful, a woman has voices to be heard, and they have spirits also. Unfair. That was so unfair. I know. But that was the truthful reality we hoarded over the years. And I, girl, here in front of you, showing a lot of confidence to sing along with my voices, to stand alone with my own knees, having the thoughts that I never deserved any judgment. Not enough to say what is right and what I wanted to be. A spineless, a tongue-tied and strapped at the backbone of someone else superior. I was like a parasite, a dependent fool. I often mislead these concepts as an inferiority. I missed a lot of good fortunes being cheated and get hurt the most. But I realized that wasn't me. And it is still the same me. There is no big difference. Only after I was crumpled like a paper, stepped on like a flip-flop, dribbled like a ball, and tossed like a frisbee, I got this courage to face the world. Firstly, I look at you, as far as I can see, my own reflection in that dilated pupils of your tantalizing eyes. I tell you, I get everything. I have everything. I was fully packed. It was my heart that failed to see the reality and look into them. Now I can see the huge bridge, and I'm going to step on before it ends. I'm here in front of billions of crowds. I'm letting out myself to speak up for you. Woo!
That was Heidi Miles. For those of you who just joined in, welcome to the first Slam Poetry Festival organized by the Migrant of Singapore. We are almost done with our second segment, which is on desire. The next person that we'll be showing is Julia Indang, and then after that, you won't see me anymore because we have a new host on stage, so I'm going to say right now. But yeah, we're going to have Jen Lin coming up to host the second segment after this. So without further ado, Julia Indang is from Ciamis, West Java, Indonesia, and has been working in Singapore for almost 15 years. In addition to writing, she enjoys photography, which she posted on her social media platforms. Julia was awarded second place in Singapore's 2019 Migrant Writer Poetry Competition. As an introvert, writing has been giving her another open door to communicate and express her feelings, opinions, and responses. So let's hear it from Julia.
Once, my temptation was at the highest. I pictured and arranged my interests just like how I pin photos on my Pinterest. But circumstances telling me another story and forced me to bury them deeply while I look at them daily. Helplessly, I stored my dreams. Dream of wearing new uniform like them. Dream of buying new books for a new term because you said that day I will never conquer. You will end up in the kitchen, you said. But I wanted just my dream, I said. Your time will be wasted, you needn't all it, you said. Sorry, but I'm a stubborn person, I have to say. Though I have no words to answer and have no sentences to deliver, death never makes me shiver. I decided to go miles away without any idea of life in another land, and about dreams that are buried years back. That hope has never faded. In this country, which had become second home for me, I felt something light on my dreams. Dream to chase those books again, to face those assessments again, to set my goals again. And you ask me again, what do you think you're gonna be? Let me tell you, I will still be able to cook even though I have to read my book. And yes, I'm a daughter, a sister, and a domestic worker. But don't you see around us? They're holding excesses to make justice as a bias, and I'm not going to stand clueless. Just like how I keep this hope alive in me, I will keep on learning. Just like how hard it is for you to believe in me, I will keep on fighting. Because I know it is not just about me and my dreams, but about them and their dreams too.